Anyway, speaking of shows that could have sorry, I should say shows with seasons that could have been longer.
Mm-hmm.
Let me talk about part 4 and technically the
Yep.
final season of Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. I will
Yep.
do the synopsis for this. I'll try.
Sure.
So yes, if you've been following this series here, we've marginally enjoyed the first 3 seasons, right? I particularly enjoyed the second and third. Well, the third for me. Well, I should say yeah. Second and third, I had to kind of flip a coin to see which one was the better of the two, but I really dug those 2 seasons. First one was great in terms of just the world building, the subversions of religion, and how we look at you know how we look at witches and Satan
Right.
and all that kind of stuff. And it was a little unnerving at first, but then when you really dive in deep, and because of the smart writing and ever so often you just kind of wink at the camera and be like, oh gosh guys, like y'all take
Yeah.
a chill pill now. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, I could kind of breathe and not think that this show is trying to brainwash me in any way, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, but and it really told, and it just kind of gave this modern, dark but not edgelord, take on pretty much a comic book series and a TV show that I generally didn't care for. That would be,
Right.
the Sabrina the Teenage Witch stuff. Now, you know what I mean? But
Right.
just how they modernize it, I thought was pretty interesting. And of course,
Right.
pay tribute to old school horror films as well, right? I thought that was cool.
Right. And well, it basically leverage off of the success of Riverdale. This kind of darky ish version you take on all of those old Archie comics and all these spin-offs and whatever it is, and whoever get through in terms of success. So we see a couple spin-offs that didn't work, others did work. I would argue even freaking DC Comics had their hand on it, because Titans is pretty much a Riverdale evocation of Golden Era Titans comics and Silver Age
Right.
Titans comics, in my opinion. So there's that. Yeah. But Sabrina is the best of the lot, in my opinion. Yeah, well, good. Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course, well, Kernan Shipka just killing it actually as
Yeah. Yeah.
Sabrina Spellman, and as we learn from season 3, she has I should say another version of herself that will be Sabrina Morningstar, right?
Right.
She becomes more or less technically the Queen of Hell, because there's this guy down here called Caliban who she marries in the third season, right?
Yeah.
So what this season is about, what this final season is about, is that there's this series, this bunch of what you call the Eldritch Terrors, right? So
Right.
they just happen to show up on Greendale, and sorry about that. And it's just like, okay, they just kind of it's just one after the next now. And then we learn that the person who is behind all this is Foster's Blackwood, right? Who was
Right.
ousted out of the whole Witch Academy thing. Now he has his own church, and he's just kind of recruiting people in the area to join her. And with every Eldritch Terror, basically Sabrina and her cousin and her friends pretty much have to figure out what's going on, and then they eventually thwart it, right? So
Right.
Foster's just keeps bringing out next one after next one after next one, with the last one being the Void, right? Which is pretty much just this endless nothing, right? Just this
Right.
void, right? While all this is going on, it kind of plays out through any course of like some weeks, basically, right? So if you remember from season 1, she had just turned 16, so this is like right on the cusp of her turning into 17, right? So she's dealing with a lot. I mean, her ex-boyfriend is with a friend now, and it's just like she's kind of losing touch with them, because everybody just more or less couples, you know what I mean? And she's just there. This guy who was from the academy, Nick, still seems to be interested in her, but at the same
Right.
time, she's warned now that her and her hellish counterpart can't exist at the same time. So there's this threat that if they do meet up, some catastrophic stuff will take place, and it kind of does happen, right? Morningstar from Hell actually rises back up to Earth, and she's trying to do her thing there, and one thing we see next day, and really is just basically about Well, just Sabrina having to deal with all this stuff, all this insanity before she turns 17, and just kind of trying to figure out where she's gonna go next, right? So I'll stop with it. I'll stop there without spoiling too much. So Ricardo, I don't know about you, boy, but all right. So here's the thing with the show, right? So I would just say in general, if you have been a diehard fan from day one, like if you've just loved everything about, if you've just loved the world, the
Right.
characters, the tributes to old horror films, the subversion of religion and all that kind of stuff,
Right.
then you'll enjoy this season here. But
Right.
for me, I felt like this was
Yeah.
a kind of a Game of Thrones scenario here where yes, the show is cancelled, right? And
Right.
you could just tell like they had so much great ideas that could
Right.
spill over to like two
Right.
more seasons,
Right.
and it kind of had no choice. Just had to kind of take out stuff, but they also wanted to
Right.
cram other stuff in it too.
Right.
So even within 8 episodes, right, which I would admit it could have just been like 10, this like two more. I'll explain
Right.
in terms of the final episode in a bit, right?
Right.
It still felt like just a lot of ideas crushed into this thing, and
Yeah.
I'm supposed to go in and okay. So apologies if I don't know everything in the world of Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, but even still, my brain, and just quoting you, Ricardo, my brain shouldn't have to remember. Oh wait, remember in season 2 when they had this thing and they do this
Yeah.
spell and
Yeah.
this device and
Yeah.
all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Now I
Yeah.
feel like my brain has to do extra homework, and then because of how fast the plots move
Yeah.
at points in these episodes, it's like okay, I'm trying to keep up. Wait, let me catch up. Okay, so this device does that, this guy does this, the spell does that, and it was just a lot to take in though. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
still
It
it's very
was.
well made and whatnot, and it moves gracefully. I would say after like the second episode things move really evenly, but
Right.
near the end though it was just a lot to take in, and then I just felt like the end, like the actual end, we're talking series finale here, was just more of a whimper than a bang. It's just like,
Right.
okay, this is how you're gonna end this. Like, okay, this is it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Ricardo, what were your thoughts on this final season, way?
Yeah, I more or less agree with you in terms of too many ideas fitting and everything, and you could tell that they really wanted to. They kind of needed extra season to sort this out, extra season or two to sort out most of this. Um, I liked a lot of it in that sense, but yeah, the show, and because of the nature of the show with all this magic stuff, it's a very I don't know what the word to use, over determinate show, right? Causes and things why anything happens could come from anywhere and anyhow. Like there's a kind of general problem with magic and soft sci-fi, but um, you know, that is how it is. It just anything could come from anywhere, and the causes of things come from anywhere, and they don't really explain this too particularly well, but they try. And then another thing is because of the whole Eldritch terror weirdness stuff, it that a lot of that kind of work for me. But because it's so out there, it don't really work so well. And what I was kind of thinking of when seeing all of this stuff play out was it felt very Twin Peaks at times, almost, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, well, everything's super weird. And especially coming down to the end, I think, episode 4. Um, Sorry, not episode 4, episode 6. That is where something happens to Sabrina Morningstar. And it's like, okay, this is real out there kind of meta stuff what they're trying to go
Mm-hmm.
for. And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
it is working. Like I was liking it, but because it's so trying to be weird, but not that clever in its premise, but kind of okay. I kind of get these ideas. It didn't tie together as well as it could have. And yeah,
Yeah.
again, it's a bad mix of too many ideas mixed with just having to not so much rushed, but feels very hurried. Like nothing gained a chance of flesh out, but they're still trying to bring back character stuff, and it just a lot of it don't, and it didn't get time to breathe. You see how season 1 it working with the season 1 now.
Yeah.
This
Yeah. Yeah.
this no this wasn't working anywhere near as much.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate side of it though. Like it could almost tell like okay, like all right, we have this limited amount of time and we have to put this amount of episodes, so let's see how much we could
Yeah,
cram into it though. But I just felt
yeah,
like literally it was trying to do too much, which I
yeah,
mean, given where the show is, where it reached, sorry, they could
yeah.
kind of get away with. But at the same time, it's like look,
Right,
just I'll put it like this, like even it's conceit, right? This whole thing about the Eldritch terrors, right? Like the first time you hear that, from the moment you see the first one, right? The
right,
darkness, right? I'm
Yeah.
thinking that each one is going to be as terrifying as the next, right? I would
Yeah.
say out of them, my favorite is the weird because
Right.
that has this really
Right.
cool creature, this octopoid, this
Right.
octopus like creature kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So
the way how they made
yeah.
that work, I thought that was pretty cool. I got some nice
Right.
little moments from it now.
Right.
But
But the thing is with it, it was trying to do, it was trying to escalate from the story. Like, they have celestials and they're trying to do hell, but we already don't do hell. So we're
yeah,
gonna go
we
with
did
that. So
hell
they try to
last
go
season. Yeah,
right. So they're trying to go real Lovecraftian with it, and they outright have references to H.P. Lovecraft in the season, especially they coming down to the end there.
yeah,
So I
yeah. They
get
even
what they're
they
trying to
even
go.
call him out by name. They call him out by
Right,
name.
right. Exactly. So
Yeah.
it I get it. I get what it's trying to go for, but yeah, it just again ideas over execution. Way too many ideas. They wanted to put everything in it. I don't know why it was cancelled. I thought the show was reasonably was successful, but so I thought they would at least get a chance to tell the last season now. But that's how it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, and
Uh,
you could tell from with everybody involved that they love this show. They don't
yeah,
want this to end, but just like well, Netflix say, well, I'm sorry, but we kind of had to kick you out. Well, technically no, but we had to kind of kick you out and let other people come in, other shows come in. But yeah, back to
yeah,
the stuff itself, right? But I felt in between that, we had to more or less judge up old things. So they have this thing with Roz and some subplot with her being a witch. So now she becomes part of the witch sisters. I forget what you call them.
right.
Basically
The weird
the
sisters.
weird sisters.
Yeah,
Sorry. And like okay, like I appreciate the fact that everybody have the little subplot and all that kind of stuff. But I felt like with Sabrina's one, it wasn't as strong as it should have been, given the fact once again it's a final season, right? So
yeah,
while I like how it started off, right, from the beginning with her about to turn 17, but all your friends kind of like coupling up and all that kind of stuff, and she don't know where she at and all these things, right? So cool, and she kind of hooked back up and with Nick and well, maybe with Harvey at a point in time, maybe not. We don't know.
right,
All
right.
these things.
Yeah,
Like I was digging that, right? I was
yeah,
also digging like the whole Eldritch stuff just being weirder and weirder, right? Like you
right.
said, in a Lovecraftian kind of way, right? But I
Yeah,
felt like when it reached to well after the imp after the perverse, right? So it
yeah,
basically involves this imp like statue basically, right? Where we get like this 1984 slash Pink Floyd The Wall s take on
yes.
Foster's Blackwood is the emperor of Greenwood,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah. So
all
they do
witches must
this,
die.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
they do this real Nazi kind of vibe going on. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I like like the first four I would say were solid, right? But from there now it was just like, all right, well now we had to kind of let the audience know the show gonna wrap up. So like we
Right.
have our meta episode literally with
Yeah,
episode 7 where literally Sabrina Morningstar ends up well we don't want to see what happens, right? But
right,
it's a clear reference to the previous series. That's all we'll say.
right, right. I
And
get a feeling. I get a feeling they wanted to get a certain actress and they couldn't get her, so they had to write her
I
off.
know, right? I
Yeah,
was looking for. I was like, wait, so
yeah. But they get
couldn't
they
get?
get they get two old actresses. It's like, oh, would them
Yeah,
just okay. That was a surprise. That
yeah.
was
One in
pretty cool.
particular, I was so happy to see. She looked. Yes, she get older, but she looked the
Yeah,
same. There's that
yeah,
lovable
right,
face she has, right? But anyway, yeah. But still, I was like, okay, so the threat's gonna get bigger, right? So in
right.
my head, and then the world kind of stuff. Okay, this is what they're going for, and then we get to the final episode where
Yeah,
it felt literally like they just take 3 episodes and smush it together.
yep,
Sorry for the nitpicking, but there are moments where I felt like it was trying to rip off little Game of Thrones. You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
basically something that happens in the middle of the show, and they show like some time pass, and is the setting and all that had this Game of Thrones feel to it, but it just rushed through everything so quickly. Boy, I'm there like, all right, what, why? You know what I mean? It doesn't give you enough time to breathe, to even right down to how characters are saved. I mean, from certain situations, it just felt like they just rushed, and the way how they ended, while I do get what they were going for, it just once again it didn't feel earned. And I just felt like at the end of the day, with this season here, it was just like, all right, like not everything has to be about the end of the world. It doesn't Not everything has to be all apocalyptic, but at the same time, it just feels like okay, big threat comes, character with magic does something, it works
Right.
for a while, but it doesn't work.
Right.
So somebody has to step in and do something, and there's a
Right.
consequence. So it just feels all internal now. But to everybody else, especially in Greendale, it's just like, well, okay, well, we don't know what's going on. Nobody really
Yeah.
cares. It just
Another
everything
thing.
just feels all internal, and I'm
Yeah.
just supposed to go off of me liking these characters so much that I am
Right.
invested in every little convoluted thing that goes on
That's the thing. They
in the
bring in.
show.
Yeah, they bring in details that just like, oh, well, that's a thing, no, but that's the problem. It escalates in some ways and then de-escalates in other ways that don't make sense. Like, okay, Roz, they reveal, well, Roz is a witch all of a sudden. Like, all right, well, why that interesting? That not that interesting. She
Thank
already
you.
had,
Why is that interesting? No, I want to bring it up
yeah,
now.
no, yeah, that's like kind of late, right? We already gone to hell and back, right? Literally, right? So, it was hard for me to like connect with certain things and what he was going to do. Like, and they had a whole side story with the whole Fae and them. They had them in it, but they had to keep them in the edits, and that's the kind of stuff you'd have probably cut, right? But that
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
decent either. But again, with another season where they had time to flesh stuff out, they could have do that, and that was just the whole thing. Could really boil down to that problem,
right,
right?
right.
Yeah.
And I just one last thing I just want to mention before I get to rating. Well, hopefully one last thing, right? I just felt like so yes, so folks really where the season really falls hard is just the storytelling here. And I mean, there's just so much going on. But I just felt with this whole Eldritch Terrors thing and having them be just sequential now, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
felt like, okay, so every single episode, all right, I understand we're doing 8 episodes, so I think it's like roughly, well, I think it's 6 or 8 in total of the Eldritch Terrors. I'm not too sure. I think it's like 6 or whatever, right? Because they actually dedicate like the last 2 episodes to like the big one or something like that. I think it is, right? But I felt with each terror being in an episode, it just kind of made everything feel a little too episodic, as opposed to, oh, there's this one big threat that's going to come, and it's just a matter of us just trying to figure things out now. So it just feels like, like, okay, we into things, we kind of enjoy ourselves with the first 4 episodes, but then the last 4 is just like, oh well, we have to kind of speed things up because the show kind of coming to an end now. But
Yeah.
it kind of gives us things in this episodic way, and it doesn't really feel like there's this big threat now. So like when the ending came, I was like, wait, that's it? This is the void, and all of a sudden we need this device to do this, and then that leads it here, and then that leads it there, and then it kind of ends, like I say, on a whimper. Like I'm not saying like the whole world had a, go to hell or whatnot, but still, with what they were building up to, especially, yeah, in particular one involving well, our earth and hell pretty much coming together, right?
Yeah.
That was promising, and then they
Yeah.
just kind of like
Yeah.
drop it
It's
and
good
just like,
ideas.
oh, it still kind of all boils down to what Sabrina does, and that's how
Right.
it is. And we're just kind of end it off like this. Well, yeah, that's how it ends. Yay! Wow! You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
the thing. Like I just kind of came out of it like, huh? That's
Yeah,
how they decided to end it. It's like,
as
all
I
right,
say, yeah, as I say, they coming on to the end, they try to really go real like abstract with it, but also you could tell they kind of like it feel like it run out of money a little bit. Um,
I know, right? Even
yeah,
down to how the well, slight spoiler, how the void is
yeah. So
is
they try to do this
is
kind of
visualized. It's
yeah.
like,
So they try to do this. As
really,
I
bro?
say, it felt very Twin Peaks slash. Oh, what was the name of that show that ended the other day last year that I didn't watch it, so that's why it wasn't on my list, but it ended last year. Um, The Good Place.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, it's very good placey kind of thing. Like, oh, look how weird this is, but it's clearly representing something, and it's more about the story and characters. So you don't really care. That's that's it. That's how I think about it. I don't know. It kind of worked for me mostly because I still think the all the characters and actors are very charismatic, and I like them, and I got attached to them from season 1 and 2 anyway. So I didn't have a
Yeah.
big problem with all of
And
this.
and, and
So
you
they
and you love seeing them on screen,
right.
especially when they have to deliver really theatrical, over the top stuff like
So
Foster's
they
Blackwood. Like, oh my god, like
yeah.
the dialogue they give this man, especially Lucifer, like, God, real
Right.
theatrics, real
So
theatrics. That's what I say.
right. So yeah, they had a lot of let us call it, you know, they built up a lot of credit with you, right? They built up all of that credit and that um oh gosh, the word slipping my mind right now. But basically they built up a lot of reputation, right? They basically spent a lot of the good reputation with this season. Stuff that you would have no patience for in another show. this show you kind of give them a second chance and a third chance and a fourth chance. They did slip with the ending. I find the ending was pretty weak. I didn't completely hate it or think they shit the bed or anything like that, but it's still pretty weak for what it was. And because I'm not too attached to the show and thinking, wait, but I really want this to be some badass ending. I just kind of like, okay, that's fine. I get where they was trying to go for. It didn't really work out that well. And it's more like, and when I heard that the show wasn't going to get a fifth season, I was like, all right, I kind of resigned to, they're going to have to rush a lot of stuff. I kind of resigned myself because I heard those news before going into it. So it's like, whatever. It's fine. 7 out of 10 for me. Maybe a 6 out of 10 if you think about it too much or if you invest yourself too heavily into it. But I had fun with it still because it had a lot of nice silly moments and jokes in it and character beats that I had. That was fine. Like especially that whole parallel universe TV show stuff, right? That meta stuff.
That was cool. That was cool.
That mostly worked for me, and I felt that was fine. And all the darkness, all the Eldritch Terrors, all the darkness on the weird stuff was cool enough ideas that it still had me roped in. There's this really good moment with the uninvited that I really liked as well. It was pretty cool and fun. Yeah, 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10 if you're not being charitable, 6 out of 10, but 7 out of 10 for me. I don't hate it. It didn't get, as I say, it didn't get a chance to breed as much as it could have. If it did, it would have probably be higher. Nowhere near as good as first and second seasons. The show was truly fantastic in those first couple of seasons. But yeah, it's a shame that they didn't get enough of a hair shake in this last material because I'm sure we would have gotten this better and a better chance. But it's unfortunate. That's how it is shake out with a lot of shows. A lot of good shows does get a bad shake in that sense. I mean, you cannot tell because even I felt somebody blocking and things felt a little off. Some of the actors felt a little off. I don't know what's going on with Ambrose, the actor. Like he had a list or like he bites his tongue or something.
He sounded kind of weirder than he normally sounds.
Right.
Like
because, no, wait,
I don't know, like he like not like I don't know, like he like someone was offered like some like I don't know if he got hit in the jaw or something.
Something right. But I get the feeling like in some scenes he was singing fine, and then other scenes he was singing real off, and I'm like, what the hell going on? Anyway, it's a shame. It's unfortunately a shame. That's how it is. Yeah, well. But good. It's still good for what it was. I mean, I wasn't like saying, "Oh, this is complete mess," and "Wait, they're left it up." That's how it is.
Well, I'm in the same camp as you, right? But for me, this season though really could have been better in my opinion. But for what it was, it did entertain me for the 8 episodes, even with the underwhelming finale. So I'll give this just a 3 out of 5, man. I should say decent, strong 3 out of 5. It's alright. It's alright for what it is, right? The show as a whole, I would give just a 3.5 out of 5. I would say it's worth checking out. I imagine the fans would thoroughly enjoy this. Well, I should say some of them will, others might, just be underwhelmed by how quickly everything just moves and kind of wraps up in this sort of uneven kind of way. This really could have gotten just a 5th season just to it really could have ended on a 5th season. Really needed that. And no amount of episodes for this season here would have fixed things. Like Ilya said, it should have had 2 more, but nah, I just think that it just needed a whole season just to wrap things up, man. Because me, I'm a man who like closure, and just certain things happen near in the finale alone. I was like, all right, well, what's gonna happen from this point? You know what I mean? It's like, nope, well, sorry, we done, right? And it's a shame, man, especially to us who watched it from the series premiere up to now, right? But still, all 4 parts or 2 seasons, whatever you want to call it, on Netflix. Give it a look. If it's not your thing, then it's not for you. I don't know, but I guess it's that thing with WB shows, especially like stuff like Arrow, which ended last year, where like we had a lot of ideas, right? But now we have to kind of rush everything. So here's the ending. Yay! Here we go. So I don't know. I guess it's that thing.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is this. But I believe we're supposed to be getting a new season of Riverdale this month. But the thing is, I haven't even watched a single episode of it.
Exactly.
So
that's a show much like Arrow, very, very popular, but I just can't get into it because I don't really give a shit about Archie. So whoever.
Thank you. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like I would admit I used to read the comics back in the days, right? But still, it's like I don't need to see edgy / edgelord murder mystery. Archie, right? Sorry, I just don't need. I don't need that in my life
I think I would have probably give it a chance if it wasn't. From what I understand, it have a bunch of supernatural stuff in it. I was like, this more belong in Sabrina, but they have it in this show. So like, that's why I never really got into it. Like, if it was just the drama stuff and they kept it to that, it would have been work, and they keep it a human grounded thing. I don't know. That just my thing. But I ain't watch the show myself. People who I know like the show, and they have opinions I generally respect. They can like, so they like the show. So it's like, well, but I never get into it.
Right. But yeah, like we say, you know what I mean? If you're curious to see the chilling adventures of Sabrina, they're on Netflix, man. So check it out. If it's your thing, it's your thing. If not,
Right.
well, you know, find something else, right?
Right.